It's time for Big Movie.
Big movie time.
That's right.
Big movie talk about time.
It might just be, Mason.
Big movie talk about time. Here it is.
Here it is right now. Sinners, which is Ryan Coogler's latest movie, on a budget of between $900 to $100 million.
$900 to $100 million.
Sorry, 90 to
We're going that
$100
way, are we? We're
Well,
going backwards.
You know, man, I don't know.
Bad news up front. This might have cost $900 million. Good news, might have cost as little as $100 million.
That's probably more likely. But look, realistically, it's probably somewhere in the middle.
That's so true, isn't it?
The box office for this, it's looking like it's going to have a 45 to 50 US opening.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good for an R-rated movie, and that's also conservatively. Looking at like the early tracking, it might be a little bit more than that.
Not to brag, but I bought my ticket. I didn't even check what the rating was.
No?
No. Didn't
What's the brag here? When you said not to brag.
Didn't even have to.
If it was a brag, what would that look
didn't
like?
even have to worry about whether it was MA or not.
You'd have to show your ID.
That's exactly right. Didn't
Incredible.
have to worry about it.
I don't know how you walk around, Mason.
Yeah.
Just in your own body and mind.
Hell yeah.
Again, great outcome for an R-rated movie. How will it fare the next few weeks?
We don't
I
know
don't know.
yet.
Probably pretty well.
We don't live in the future.
I feel like this one will kind of tick along nicely for a while. I don't know that for a fact. But of course, what do you think the story was?
Oh, come on, mate.
This is the bit where you tell us what the story's
so
about,
true.
but you can't do too many spoilers.
Okay.
Like the spoiler that's in the trailer,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I didn't watch.
I thought you did.
No, but I assumed what I thought the spoiler was going to be. It's what happens.
All right, so it's set in the 1930s.
Yep.
And there's two brothers, the Smokestack twins, Smoke and Stack.
And you might be like, are they really brothers? No, it's one man. In real life.
In real life, it's both. It's both
Michael B.
Jordan.
Jordan and Michael C. Jordan.
That's correct. Yes. They're army boys.
Yep.
But then they came back from the army. They went up to Chicago to do some honest, good entrepreneurship.
Yep.
But now they're back in their hometown, which I think is Mississippi.
Yeah.
Which is a small town.
That's
it's
right.
a small town of Mississippi. And they've got a bunch of money and a bunch of booze, a bunch of illegal booze.
Yep.
And they're gonna use that money to open up a juke joint.
That's right.
And everybody's so happy to see them.
Yeah.
Especially all their ex-lovers.
Yeah, they love
who
that.
are very mad at them.
And the people they shoot, who they used to know.
That's right. And some new friends they're going to shoot.
They're going to shoot some new people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got a new pal. Their little cousin.
Yep.
And he's
Sammy,
and he's a sharecropper, but he's also he's a guitar playing man. But he's so good. And they say legend has it, if you're so good at playing the guitar, like me, James, as we've established, that was foreshadowing earlier. It wasn't just a coincidence. That if you're so good at playing guitar in somebody's house playing Wonderwall, you can summon great evil.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that.
No, it's good. It's good. And everyone's like, wow, this is transcending space and time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But also, someone's going to show up who's crook.
Yeah, that's right.
And be like, hello,
Yeah.
what's this?
Yeah.
I want to get involved.
And no spoilers, but that happens, because otherwise there wouldn't be a movie.
No.
Otherwise
It'll be called Good Guitar Man.
Good Guitar. That's right. The movie.
The movie.
Yeah.
So
and Grogu.
And versus Grogu.
Who's from the past.
Yeah.
If we can be clear. He's
That's right.
from the past.
So this is, this is in the trailers. This is also a vampire movie.
Correct, yes.
Which you might forget for a large portion of this movie because it's kind of like two movies, I guess. And I think it balances both of those very well. Yeah.
I saw someone say this is like we're going back to a classic sort of 90s genre film.
There's a bit of From Dusk Till Dawn about this as well.
Yeah.
Because that's a movie about gangsters and whatnot. And then
that
all of a
turns
sudden,
into a vampire movie.
There's a snake vampire woman in
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I mean, and the strongest element of this, I would say, and this isn't to take away from anything else, is the music in this is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the music supervisor is Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
Who's done a bunch of other stuff.
He did the Mandalorian theme.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Is that the one that goes?
Yes.
What else has he done? Oh, he did Fruitvale Station, which was another Ryan Coogler movie.
That's
He
an
did Creed
incredible
and
movie.
Creed 2.
Yep.
He did Tenet.
Yep.
So, he's all over the place.
Black Panther movies. He did Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got an incredible filmography. Discography,
Yes. And you'd hope so, because this is a movie, about music.
primarily.
And at a certain point, it just becomes all about the music. You forget about the vampires.
Yeah. But even though they haven't forgotten.
No.
And they're hanging around. They're
Yeah.
ready to do some vampire stuff. There's one particular sequence, which I guess I won't fully spoil, where Sammy's playing the guitar and singing. And they mention how music kind of transcends space and time, and you can summon spirits from both the past, present, and the future.
Yeah.
And you get that in one shot. And
Vanilla Ice is there.
Vanilla Ice, yeah. And you see...
Vanilla Ice is there. Eminem is there.
Yep.
Benson Boone arrives.
Yeah, that's right. He does a flip.
Benson Boone does a flip. Who else is there?
Imagine Dragons are there.
Yeah. Everlast is there.
Yep. Maroon 5.
Maroon 5 show up. Exactly. All the greats, you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, but it weaves throughout like these different styles and genres of music in this one shot.
Machine Gun Kelly is there.
And I don't know how else to explain that sequence other than like I could feel it. Does that make sense? I could literally feel it in my body. It was. I don't think I've had.
That's called music.
It is, but it's not just that. I don't think I've experienced like a moment like that watching anything ever.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
that
crazy.
was just wild to me.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's vampires.
There is vampires. A great cast, obviously, the Michael B. Jordans.
Yep, there's Michael B. Jordan and Michael C. Howell.
Miles Caton is Sammy Moore, who's their little cousin.
Great.
Haley
Steinfeld.
So Haley Steinfeld is in this. She's a white passing black woman. Because her grandfather is half black, I think.
Yeah.
Which is true of Haley Steinfeld in real life.
Yes, that's right.
Which I learned this week. Very good, and she is the woman that Stack left behind.
Yeah.
So they came back from the war. They came back to Mississippi, and then they both built lives, and then they just left to do gangster stuff in Chicago, and now they're
Cool
back.
stuff.
And
Get
hates
cool
them.
suits.
Yeah. Wunmi Masako is Smoke's lost love. She plays Annie.
Yep.
She's also she's B-15 in Loki.
Oh, she is, of course. Yeah.
But
she's great.
She's
in
really
this.
great. Yeah.
I really liked her.
Yeah. We get a Delroy Lindo appearance. Which
Amazing,
which
incredible.
Always have to see
amazing.
Delroy Lindo in this. He's a guy who's he's an alcoholic, and he's
but he's an incredible bluesman.
He's a bluesman, and he's done a kind of a low paying gig for years and years, and he gets the opportunity to do the first night of this juke joint for a lot of money
And beer.
and he's going to take that chance.
Yeah.
Good cast.
Omar Benson Miller's great. Jack O'Connor plays one of the vampires. Yeah, it's amazing. Everyone's very good. If I had any complaints,
Go on.
I don't.
Wow.
They're all good.
Yeah. If you had any complaints, you're an ally, so you wouldn't voice them, would you?
I wouldn't either way. Yeah, I also think in terms of I like the vampire stuff in this because they don't try and do a scientific explanation and there is a place for that, and I like that.
Yeah.
But they're just like, these are magic vampires.
Yeah.
They don't like garlic. If they want to get inside, they have to be invited. They've got this kind of shared collective consciousness kind of memory situation.
Yeah. I thought it was
going
a very sort of traditional vampire
They can sort of fly.
vibe, but they had its sort of modern elements. I like the fact that so much of this movie seems to, a lot of it is a transcending space and time thing.
Yes.
Like the shared consciousness thing feels like a modern thing, but a lot of the having to be invited, that feels like an old thing.
Yeah. I think also it's really interesting because they've got that kind of shared consciousness, and it's not, you're not vampiric in the sense that like if you kill the one who bit you that you'll turn back into a person. It's just, presumably this like branch of vampirism goes back to Vlad the Impaler or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
So there's no kind of
Brad the Impaler.
Thank you. There's no going back to that, and a lot of what they do is to get people on board, and there's this thing around them and music and targeting specific artistic people because that enhances their abilities, and it seems as if they themselves have a history of music and song, which who knows how long that even goes back. So they're collecting those kind of stories.
And what I liked about them is that they had quite a compelling argument.
Yeah,
because they're
not racist.
They're all predominantly white, but this is like it's Prohibition era, it's Jim Crow era. Black people and white people aren't supposed to.
Yep.
The
Clan is
consort together. The Clan is still around, even though they say they're not.
Yeah.
And these vampires are like, if you could use this to fight back against the Clan, we could all be in it together, kind of thing. It was very like class consciousness kind of vibe.
And I thought initially, and I think there's an element of like, oh, they're bullshitting. They don't believe this. But I think they do.
Yeah.
I think it's a way for kind of you to incentivize people to either invite them in or you go out.
Yeah.
But it seems
Seize
as
the
if
means of production.
It seems as if they do, they do believe in that kind of, in a fucked up way that, that kind of, I know, unionizing.
Yeah, they were
But
unionizing.
vampires. Yeah. And there's this element of, we talked about this before we recorded. What did you call it? The opposite of Buffy in terms of vampirism.
Oh, in the Buffy universe, when somebody is turned into a vampire, their soul is destroyed and sort of sent out into the in tiny little fragments out in the universe. So it's kind of gone. But in this, if somebody is transformed into a vampire, their soul is trapped in the body. So
which is bad.
That's bad, I think.
Sometimes it's pretty cool though.
It seems pretty cool.
You can do some cool stuff.
Good action sequences.
I was gonna say good action sequences. It's pretty gory.
But I think even when the action isn't happening, just the two boys heading back to the...
The camera work in this...
Yeah.
Mate, I've written something down. Who have I got here? Hang on. Because I wrote down the name of... the cinematographer, Autumn Girold.
Arkapour,
yeah. So I saw an interview with her and Ryan Coogler, and they were talking about they're inspired by The Thing, There Will Be Blood, The Last Emperor. You can see that. Like, there's some of the shots in this...
There is, there is certainly as well, just plot-wise, there are some elements of The Thing. You know, there's a moment where we have to, learn, the vampires can't enter, a building without being invited, but perhaps
one's already in there.
Maybe somebody's been turned into a vampire in the building, and so they had to kind of do an eat a garlic test.
Yeah.
So there are some small. I like that there were small elements of what has come before, but just a bunch of just new stuff.
I liked also because there's a witchcraft element to as well, where there is like a level of protection you can get in terms of hexes and
because Smoke's partner Annie, or former flame Annie, she has some sort of. She has some old world mysticism and kind of
And he doesn't believe that.
No, he doesn't believe it, but he has carried a kind of
a hex bag.
A totem with him, throughout the war and throughout his Chicago adventures.
Yeah,
that seems to have protected him.
Also, pretty sexy,
The movie.
Yeah,
not voodoo.
No, not the voodoo stuff. But I'm saying in terms of it doesn't. I think we are getting back to that idea of putting sex in movies.
Yeah,
but. It doesn't feel like it's just oh, look at this.
What happened to those family values,
Yeah, but...
which we used to rely, etc.
Very good. But I think there's the way this is placed in the movie, I think it's good.
It's good, I think.
Yeah.
It's good.
Sexy movies are back, Mason.
Well, but also, anything vampire-related has to have some element of horniness
it's true.
to it.
Twilight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twilight
so horny. Though the horniest
Twilight
movies.
3, the horniest Twilight.
That's right.
Maybe. I don't know. They're all good.
They're all good.
Yeah. Great costuming.
I think so too. Yeah.
The period era.
Mm-hmm.
Costumes are phenomenal.
I agree.
I think also...
Smoke's a little sportier than Stack.
He is. I think also...
He's got a flat cap on.
He does.
And a wristwatch.
Yeah. Those two together, I notice this a lot in The Flash, which is also a Warner Brothers production, when there's two Ezra Millers on screen.
Oh, yes.
I could pick the face replacement, or one was often CGI, and I found that really distracting. And there's not a second of this... Because it seems as if, and I don't know how they did it specifically, but they used body doubles, face replacement, probably deep fakes.
Yeah.
Obviously, the person who doubled for Michael B. Jordan looked enough like him where if you did a face replacement, it's not super noticeable if they did deep fakes.
Although
if
we haven't seen the behind the scenes, maybe he looks nothing like him. Maybe they're just the same.
I just mean you just kind of need to get the basic structure of a person.
Think about this: Sinners, Mickey 17, The Monkey, and that Robert De Niro movie.
Yeah.
Where everybody's twins.
That's true. Yeah. It's a big year for twins movies.
Is it because the technology is way cheaper now to do it?
I guess.
Or maybe they only have to pay an actor 1.5 times?
Yeah, maybe they do. Yeah, that might be it.
That might be it.
I also thought that they really, aside from the costuming, they did a good job of making the two brothers distinct. I was never which one is this one again?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just in the costuming. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of it was performance and attitude and the way it was written.
Stack's more of a wheeler dealer.
Yeah.
Smoke is a little down on the whole idea when you really drill down into it. But Stack is we got to make this happen.
Absolutely.
I got to go around and shoot people in the butt.
Yeah.
To make this happen.
And he's got to make it happen. Should we do some spoilers?
Let's do some spoilers. Good action. I wouldn't say action is certainly very good.
I would say there's brief bursts of action. It's not an action movie.
No.
There's not most of it is character work and setup and music and dance. And then there's probably maybe 10 minutes of action in this entire thing.
Yeah.
which is fine.
But it hits hard.
It really, doesn't overstay its welcome. It comes and it goes. Yeah. And there's also an action sequence at the end where it's like, oh, I didn't think this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
And I'm like, but if you can squeeze
it in.
You can squeeze it in. If the budget stretches to this. Because there's a bit in the trailer where I'm like, oh, that hasn't happened yet.
Where he's firing the Tommy gun.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, you're going to get it.
Yeah. Best movie ever.
Great.
Unsurprisingly.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Best movie ever. I mean, we'd heard it was good, and it was. And it had me leaving the theater go, wow, movies are good.
Yeah.
Because, we recently saw the Minecraft movie. And even though you said it was the best movie ever.
I didn't say that. I said it was bad.
It's, also,
this movie, not attached to a franchise or anything, but it does have a mid-credits and a post-credits.
It does,
so stick around for those.
Which we'll talk. I mean, I think the mid-credits... It leads straight into it. Like, it doesn't really stop. So, and also the mid-credits it's very important to the movie.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So
actually,
absolutely stay. It's not just a whatever.
So I wonder why that. I wonder why that's happening. I mean, I would imagine if knowing nothing about Ryan Coogler, but having watched some videos, about the production of this and etc. Maybe it's just because he wanted people to stick around and watch the credits and see who was involved in making it.
He did, yeah.
That seems like the most logical thing. There.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we all stuck around.
We did.
Anyways, spoilers. I mean, it's heavy on death.
Sure is.
Most people die.
Almost everybody dies, yeah.
I mean, or get turned into a vampire, and then most of those vampires die.
Yeah.
A couple survive, and of course, Sammy lives to, I was going to say the modern day. He lives to at least 1992.
So, yeah.
Which we'll talk about the...
I loved how... So is it Jack O'Connell who plays Remick, who's the main vampire, who we first see... He's been turned into a vampire at some point, and then he's being chased by native...
Yeah, they know what he is.
Native American vampire hunters.
Yeah.
And then he goes to
convinces a
couple who are clan members to give him sanctuary. Yeah.
Gold.
And then he turns them into vampires. But I love how over the course of the movie he keeps transforming and getting weirder.
Yeah.
Like his claws keep getting longer.
Yeah.
And
But he can switch it on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think he's like he was a modern-ish one, or do you think he was from? Where do you think he's from?
He's not from like hundreds or thousands of
years.
years.
I got the sense that maybe he was like an old, like European peasant, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know, but also because they've got this shared collective memory,
it's impossible.
It doesn't matter, and you don't know. So
because there's the Chow. There's a couple the Chows, and they're like Delta Chinese immigrants, and they run the local general store, and they are turned into vampires at a certain point, and then suddenly everybody knows how to speak Chinese. Yeah.
Exactly. So after they do all the vampire stuff, and everybody seems to be dead except one of the Michael B. Jordans. There's a clan massacre.
Yeah. So at the very start of the movie, the Smokestack twins show up in Mississippi again, and there's an old sawmill, and they have enough cash from their misadventures in Chicago to
they also got their money by robbing the Irish and the Italians.
That's correct. Yes.
And the idea is that the Irish and the Italians think the other ones did it, and so they made out. And they probably would have got caught at some point, I assume.
Yeah.
Well, that's the implication.
Yeah.
But sorry, go on.
But and they purchase it from this guy who they suspect have clan affiliations, or at least are like, this guy seems like a racist, which he would be in that era. And they're like, this is all the money you're ever going to get from us. Don't come back.
Yeah, if you come back here, we'll shoot you.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, no. But he will.
Yeah.
And he comes right at the end. he comes back with all these guys. So this is the sawmill is overrun with vampires.
Mm-hmm.
The remaining good guys fight back.
Yep.
Everybody is Smoke seemingly kills Stack, but we don't see it happen.
Yep.
But we realize that they actually made a deal.
Yeah.
That Stack has to leave, but he can never go near Sammy ever again.
Yeah.
You can't try and turn him into a vampire.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's all over. All the
Michael B. Jordan, who's left, can't even roll a goddamn cigarette.
Smoke survives till daytime, and all the vampires that are pursuing him get stuck in.
Oh, and they told him also as part of the negotiations to join them that the clan were coming the next day to kill them all.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you probably should get turned into a vampire.
Yeah. And they do. They all show up.
They do show up, but luckily, the Smokestack twins had foreseen this, and they foreshadowed a big trunk of stuff in the back of his truck, which contains a bunch of cool army guns and stuff.
Yep.
Big Tommy gun, and he just
kills
like a
40
big
of them.
light machine gun, and he just lays waste to them, and it's super fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's very like Tarantino kind of.
Yeah.
There's a real satisfying kind of.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like, not that it doesn't belong. That's the wrong word. You don't need it, I guess.
Yeah,
but
right.
it's a real it's a real satisfying kind of
really is,
conclusion, not only to like his story, but just I don't know, just kind of that world and that era. Yeah, and he doesn't survive it, and
He could have. He could have ducked behind that like bale of hay or whatever.
yeah, but I mean, he did pretty well.
He threw that hand grenade in that guy's truck.
Yeah, that was very fun.
It was very fun. Yeah. But yeah, he gets a shot in the gut, and he's on the way out. And he dies.
Yeah.
But then he sees...
He does machine gun that guy, though.
He does machine gun that guy. And then he sees Annie, his former love, and their child that didn't survive. And he's like, well, I'm going to heaven,
Seems
probably.
pretty good.
I'm going to heaven.
Yeah.
Because after you've seen the vampires, you'd be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess all things are
I guess
possible.
things all real. And I did kill all those clan people, so
Yeah,
I
should go to heaven for that. Yeah. But then, post mid-credits, we cut to 1992.
Oh, I just wanted to quickly say, because all the vampire people disappear,
yeah.
I guess what that would have looked like was a clan massacre.
Yeah, right.
And they disappeared all the bodies. And I guess Sammy, who's left, who's got like a big vampire scratch down his face, I guess it would have just assumed that he was the only survivor of this clan massacre that happened.
Yeah, right.
And I guess that's how they kind of explained it away. I don't really know. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Cuts to 1992. Sammy's still alive, but now he's Buddy Guy, actual blues musician. And he's performing in a club, and who should rock up but two very 1990s looking Stack and Mary, Haley Steinfeld. And they're like, hey man, what's been happening?
You're cool.
Yeah, you're cool. You're cool. What's been happening the last 60 years?
We got all your music.
Yeah,
we think it's cool.
We think it's cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, just letting you know.
Yeah. I thought that was also interesting.
Oh, first of all, Michael B. Jordan wearing the best 90s Coogler sweater.
Oh my God.
That's an Australian original.
Is it really?
Coogler sweaters are Australian.
I didn't know that.
Haven't you seen me wear those weird sweaters I wear sometimes?
I just thought, I didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, right. No, nobody does, man.
No, they're good sweaters.
That is one of the best I've ever seen, honestly.
It's
in that movie.
It's great.
Fiery red and orange.
Yeah.
Oh, oof.
Little glasses.
I hope they reissue that one. I don't know where they got it. But they're like... They just sort of reminisce.
Yeah.
They're like, honestly, it was one of the best nights we've ever had.
It was rad as hell.
It was rad as hell.
Like, it was really scary.
Yeah.
But also, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, like Sammy's like, I mean, before all the vampire massacre stuff happened,
Yeah.
it's the best day of my
I got
life.
laid. It was rad.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
got to
she
play that
died.
music.
I got to play music.
I got to meet Eminem.
Yeah. I got to meet Sugar Ray.
Sugar Ray was there.
So I also thought...
I got a preview of All Star by Smash Mouth. They were there.
I just assumed that... I don't know that they didn't have... Like, the vampires didn't have their own agency.
Yeah, right.
But I guess they do. Because, I guess that the bond between those brothers is stronger than whatever vampire law.
Yeah, guess so.
And they offer to convert him into a vampire. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
And then there is a post credits where...
I'll be honest, I did think Haley Steinfeld's character did die. I thought she burst into flames, but I guess she lived.
No, she ran off.
Did she?
You see footage of it as well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good on her.
Yeah, I said good on her too.
But yeah, then there's a post credits and it's Sammy playing music or whatever.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
olden
So
times.
yeah. I've got some reviews here. Would you like to hear about
I would
them?
love to hear about it.
It's from the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates group.
Oh, yes.
It's just from Heather Ringman, who says, I saw it and I liked it. There were good performances, great costumes, and fantastic music sequences. There are some strangeness with the script, like I wondered if there would be some things in the longer version of the movie that were cut out, but overall I thought it was fun and I hope a lot of people go to see it. Fidel Reyes, Mason says.
Oh, yes.
You know Fidel.
Friend of ours.
Exactly. Ryan Coogler is one of those directors whose work I'll go out of my way to go support. Sinners in particular was worth the trip. It was beautiful to look at, and all the performers brought their A game. I really enjoyed Michael B. Jordan's performance, but I think I preferred Michael B. Jordan's performance. Nice. Alexis Gentry over at Trashwire. You can check her out. Amazing. Sinners might be my fave of the year so far. Maybe. It might be mine, yeah. This and Black Bag, definitely up there.
Sexy.
Yep. Paul. Oh, yeah. Being sexy in movies is back. Paul Spooner says...
It's always been sexy in podcasts.
It's true.
But they're finally borrowing some of our energy.
Yeah, but don't look at us.
the
Just
movie.
listen to our voices.
That's right.
Paul Spooner says, wanted to love this, but it never fully clicked for me. Performances all around are great. The script held it back for me. Some of the melodrama between characters seemed hokey.
Okay.
Mitchell Hall says, genuinely one of the most enjoyable movies I've seen in cinemas recently. Everyone's acting is great. The visuals were great. The music is fantastic. Don't make the same mistake as most of the cinema I saw and stay for the whole credit. So I guess people were walking out during that sequence.
Shouldn't have done it.
So that's all the reviews.
Yes.
This is from Vulture, though. There's an article which I think is worth discussing where they did a kind of deep dive into Ryan Coogler's deal with this movie.
I was going to read it, but then it was like, you've used up all your free articles this month.
And I went to look at it again, and they've taken it down. Or what, but I don't know. Maybe it's back up by now. But apparently Ryan Coogler gets full ownership of this movie in 2050.
Huh.
Apparently.
So in 25 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, anonymous Hollywood sources are calling it very dangerous, as well as to say it could be the end of the studio system.
Oh, well, good riddance, I say.
Kugler has said that he considers the ownership deal a one-off, rooted at least in part in Cinder's focus on themes of black artists' ownership of their own culture. I don't think if he can get away with it, I wouldn't make this a one-off. If you can make this part of it. I mean, there's famous examples of people who they created an IP or a character and they don't own it. Like Stallone,
I've never heard of one.
Stallone, for example, created Rocky, but it is owned by some family
guy.
or some guy. And I understand, like, I get the point that, like, yeah, he did it through somebody else's financing. I understand that, but he can't even be co-owner of this.
Yeah, it's weird.
Character and franchise, like that's like the amount of money that something like that has made.
Yeah.
This might happen with creator-owned, creator-funded projects. I think Passion of the Christ is an example where Mel Gibson put up his own money for that, so he owns Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody owns that, you know?
And like
I'm tired of all these public domain Jesus Christ out there.
Tarantino, like also, this is a similar deal where he gets the rights to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in like 20 or so years.
Okay, right.
I mean, he'll be 80 plus by then whenever this happens.
But it's more the principle of the thing,
I think so. I don't see any problem. I mean, if you can, and what's the alternative? Like the studio gets it. Like, whose side do they think people will be on in this? And again, I understand the mechanics of making a movie and the finance of it.
Yeah.
But obviously the creative driving force of a thing, they've gestated this idea and built something. I think that, also, what is this even going to be worth in 20 years? Like,
that's true.
How much money is he really going to get for it?
Yeah.
I think I like it. I like even, like, in principle, I love this idea.
What I would say also, though, and we mentioned this, I think, when we talked about the Sinners trailer maybe a few weeks back or something like that, there is also a comic book called Bitter Root.
Yes.
Co-created by Sanford Green, Chuck Brown, and David F. Walker, it's set during the Harlem Renaissance and follows the Sangriers, a family of monster hunters who attempt to cure creatures rather than killing them. The rights to the film adaptation were acquired by Legendary Pictures. In October 2019, it was announced that Ryan Coogler, Sev Ohanian, and Zinzi Evans would direct the film. So what happened there? But then he's gone to a different kind of monster hunter movie. I guess there's no... if I had to guess, I would say there's little to no crossover sort of character-wise.
No.
But it's interesting, right?
It is interesting.
Yeah. Maybe he was like, this doesn't fit for me.
Yeah.
But I would like a different... I would like to do a different vampire hunting thing.
It says that Ryan Coogler was in 2019, and then in 2021 Regina King was attached to the project. Did you say that already?
No, but that is
director, true. Yeah. So that's interesting. I didn't know Regina King directed.
Well, there you go.
Very interesting.
There you go.
Oh yeah, she's directed a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is cool.
All right, Mason. All in all, good movie. Movies
so
are good again, and they'll never be bad. This is gonna, from here on out, all good movies.
What's next week?
Until Dawn?
Oh, yeah.
Could be a good movie.
Could be
good things. Yeah.
Could be good.
Should we move it along?
Let's move it along.
To what?
What are we reading?
What?
What are we going to read?
What?
Yep.